Well, hello there, humans, the hippies, the earthlings. How you all doing? Whoever you are, wherever you are. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. You want me to say it? Whatever you're doing, whatever you're doing it too. I'm Bushcon Blitz, and it's great to be back here with you today in the old... Well, this is kind of the Freedom Eagle of the medium range. This is the T23E3, also known as the Nomad, if you picked it up with its special nomadic camo, like the bloke from Kung Fu, Mr. Carradine, David Carradine, who ran around. That's what it was named after, the guy from Kung Fu. I got no idea. This is getting reviewed because it's one of the Tech Tree premiums. And I've decided I'm going to try and review the Tech Tree premiums because a lot of people have asked me about them, both in Patreon and in normal conversation, and want to know a little bit about them so that if they're going to shell out cash when it's not on special or on sale or something, they can get an idea on it and how it runs and what it's all about. And well, they should want to know about this one because it's a pretty bloody good tank. Tier 7's got some really crackerjack tanks, not the least of which is that tank that you can see in front of us, the Comet, which until now was the DPM king in Tier 7, well, until recently. And there's quite a few tanks now that can pump out just about 2,400 damage per minute. The Comet's one of them, and this is another one. In fact, the guns on the Comet and the T23E3 are remarkably similar. They're both exceptionally good at putting damage into enemy reds. Where they're not so good at times is the penetration stats, and we'll get to that. As always, this is a Patreon-sponsored post. Patreon is the reason I'm able to keep doing this. Patreon pays the bills, basically. Without Patreon, I would be a real estate agent still, and there certainly wouldn't be bugger all videos dropping on YouTube every day. So if you consider sponsoring, click on the link. Do your best. There'll be a card pop up at some point, or stick around at the end of the video. There's lots of other stuff on the end of the video you should be looking at anyway. This is a gun depression medium. It's exactly like a cross between the T20 and the Comet. It's very, very much like the T20 running its 76mm, but where that's got crap accuracy and has a lot of other bad counting stats, the T23E3 runs the 76mm T91, which actually has 0.36 dispersion and 2 seconds of aim time, which is fairly bloody good. It's also renowned for going very, very fast backwards, the T23E3, which is, if that floats your boat, then go for it. It wasn't particularly important to me when I was playing, but it's a play style much like the T20 that suits if you like gun depression. 10 degrees of gun depression is grand. The accuracy at range, though, as you can see here, is not nearly as reliable as would so appear. And I'd expect that the dispersion numbers on Traverse on the turret are a little bit misleading, that they're probably worse than you'd find on a tank like the Comet or the T20, because the dispersion on Traverse and movement is not great. Now that's an IS-3 and an IS-6 using APCR, your Premo. You have under 200mm of pen on your APCR, 199, which is, nothing to write home about. And you can see that goes through because red is, unless it's solid red, is you still have a chance to pen. You're just a much, much lower chance, and we got very lucky there. And we're going to go through and smack this IS because we do have 10 degrees of gun depression. Now, the reason I say it's a cross between the Comet and the T20 is it's got pants armor like the T20. The mantlet's nothing to write home about. You're going to get penned with HE if you stick your head out too often. But it has gun depression and it's got 2,400 damage per minute. The T20's got rubbish damage per minute. It's more of an alpha medium. And it's got fairly solid DPM numbers, fairly solid gun depression. The Comet's got 13 degrees of gun depression, which is pretty awesome. And the T20 also has fairly solid maneuverability, mobility, but it's not as mobile as the Comet, I find anyway. This thing's got 56 kilometers an hour as a top speed. It doesn't get there particularly quickly, but it does get there. And 44 degrees of traverse on your tracks and 40 degrees of traverse on your turret. And then you're going to note in most of these videos, I'm doing an awful lot of hill fighting. And I did that recently in the Pershing video, and it's one of the things I love about the American line. It's very honest. It's a very honest line. It gives you a gun depression medium with really solid really solid all-round ability. It's got a bit of a jack of all trades line, but very few masteries in that line. So you don't have an amazing gun. You don't have the best gun depression. But in this case, it does have the best DPM. Like the DPM on this is a match for any other light or medium tank in its tier, which is pretty exciting. To get that on a premium tank, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. How do you use it? Well, I'm going to show you a game here. This is a game where I was all on my poor old lonesome. I hadn't been abandoned. I was playing with Mojo earlier in the T23E3. I was playing this one on my own because Mojo kept doing too much bloody damage and carrying me. And I needed to have a few games where I could actually play my own little way out of trouble. And that's what I got through here. This was the first game after Mojo had bailed. And you can see I've got to go to Premo to pen that Jumbo there. Now the Jumbo is probably the strongest armoured medium at tier 6. So that's no great knock. You weren't expecting to get an easy shot on him. But for all that, it's still a bit disappointing to have to go to premium ammunition to pen a tier 6 medium tank. All in all though, if a premium was stronger than the standard Tech Tree tanks, well, you wouldn't drive the Tech Tree tanks at all, would you? You just stick with premiums all the time. And it can't be the best of all worlds. It would just be unfair to the guys grinding through tanks like the Comet, like the T20, and like that Jumbo there. Now you can see I'm using this area in the middle, just going up and down, resetting camo, getting shots using the gun depression, and we're going to get a kill shot here. It's pretty good on the move firing, which is another hallmark of most of the American tanks. It should be noted as well that I'm running all the perks on this account. I've been playing the game forever, so on both my accounts, the contributor account and my standard Bushka account, I'm just about chock full of all perks, especially in the medium range. I've got all the clutch braking and that from TDs and the extra camouflage and such. So I'm running it with all the bells and whistles. So hence, I'm also running all provisions and such. So my aim time and my load time is as low as it can possibly get. And you can see that my reload is a phenomenally low 3.3 seconds. In real terms, is that I'm doing about 2,900 damage per minute if I can get them to sit in front of me for long enough, because I'm running vents and rammer and double rations and all that kind of thing. And you can see it's now getting a little bit tight, and I've gone to the APCR because I feel like we're penned, like we're in a really, really bad spot. There's a Drac who's with me here who's actually seems to know his way around the traps and is doing very, very well now. I'm very keen to hit this, so I let the reticle settle right down, and we're now 3 on 5 and 2 on 5. The Drac's putting up a really big last effort here. He's using that rock excellently. We're holding both sides, just trying to keep them off and do as much damage as we can. And I really want to get this SU-100. Here we go. And we bounce him. Unfortunate, but that's what happens when you've got 199mm of pen. And now, if I'm going to win, it's going to need a Kolobanov. But we get the next shot in, which is great. The KV2 can absolutely wreck me over there, but I can also put HE into this guy. So I'm moving around with HE, but I change up again to AP because those little vines there will actually stop a HE shell. I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And we're backing down the hill, trying to get under his gun depression. He's trying to be a bit sneaky and use the old reverse, and we put some damage into his ammo rack. And the SP1C quite stealthy there. He's bailing now. He's going to go hide and try and drag me towards that KV2 over there. And I am having none of it, my friends, because I know what a KV2 can do. I've driven the things often enough, and I'm not going to get too involved with a KV2. And I'm spotted. So what I'm going to do here, I've got plenty of time on the clock. I've got 2 tanks to kill. Reset the camo, get in here amongst the brush and the bush, and then I'm going to hit the accelerator. I'm going to have a little peek over here, make sure I'm not being snuck up on. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Well, let's reset this whole shebang and move down here and see if we can get some shots into that area there. If they move round to where I was, or if they start capping, I'll be able to get shots into that cap circle. Now this is a real lesson for young players. I'm not great, but one of the worst things you can do at the end of a game is just wait for the enemy, especially if they're going to be in a cap circle like that. We get one in, but we don't track him, and then we bounce the first shot. Bit unlucky there, but because we're far enough away, we've got camo on our side from that tree, we don't get spotted. And now we relocate again, because he must have known where that was coming from. And that SP1C with his light tank camo is moving around all over the place. I'm just expecting him to pop there. He might pop. We put one in. He's not there. And we're off again to the races. Now I'm running vents, rammer. No, I'm sorry. I'm running rammer, vertical stabilizer, and optics on this. Now that's my standard loadout on all the mediums. And there he went to where I was, not where I was going to be. And we get him again. Happy days. And that was the big ace in the hole, because now we have a minute 22 to get rid of this KV2. We're just going to let camo settle down behind this bush, and at least we get the first shot. Here we go. And he puts one straight through, but now we've got the DPM advantage. 3.3 second aim time will buy you a lot of love. He gets away behind the building though, and this is going to go right down to the bloody wire. We're both one shots. He's played a pretty good game, the KV2. He could have pushed up and been more aggressive. They could have used a double hit point pull, but they really didn't know where I was. And that SP1C got caught out. We nearly come a cropper there running into the carcass of a vanquished foe. And we're just going to sneak up here. He's looking the other way, and we get the Kolobanovs. Happy days. It's a great tank. A really, really great tank for a premium. And there you go. The high caliber, the Top Gun, the Pools medal. No, Bradley Walters. And the joyous satisfaction of knowing that I helped my team fight the good fight and get across the line. So I recommend it. If you're looking for a tier 7 premium, I think this is a bloody good option. I love gun depression. I'm a big fan of lots of damage, and it's got that and gun depression going like an absolute machine. So yeah, happy days. I'm all over it. If you'd like to know more about tanks like this, then stick around the bloody channel, because it's what I do every day of the freaking week. I put videos about tanks like this up and you all watch them. So let's do more of it. I like you, you like me. Together we can be family. Make sure you look after your families. If you'd like to sponsor the channel, please do. Stick around, and if you're in New York over the week of the 19th, which I'm about to be, why don't you come along to the event, the World Finals of Blitz, so we can find out who wins what and where and why. I'm Bushcon Blitz. Look after yourselves. Stay safe on the battlefield.